Hi everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the first half of March and in particular the full moon that we have coming up on the 12th in Virgo. But you may still be feeling the ripples of that very intense eclipse month of February. We had some very strong fire energy operating there, and really that polarity that I talked about last time between Aries and Pisces continues. They're very, very different signs. If you think of Aries as the sign of the warrior, it's primal fire, and Pisces is the sign of the dreamer, the mystic, the poet. So they're very, very different. So I'm going to be talking a little more about that. But really, the first few days of the month could be quite wild because on the first of the month, we have the moon in Aries coming to conjunct Uranus and Eris, also in Aries at 21, squaring Pluto in Capricorn, opposing Jupiter in Libra. So this happens every month, that the moon comes to highlight this T-square that I've been talking so much about. And that can make you feel quite impetuous, moon in Aries, quite impulsive, and it can create extreme emotions, the split between security perhaps of a relationship versus the freedom and independence of doing your own thing. So if you're in a relationship where you feel things are a little bit wobbly, just let that pass for a day or so before you make any sudden decisions. You may feel a little different a couple of days on. But it is certainly highlighting these areas of fairness and justice and equality, perhaps within a relationship, but it's also highlighting those issues in society. Those are very writ large at the moment in many societies about injustice. And this is really coming from that strong opposition we have between Jupiter at 21 of Libra and Aries at 21 of Aries. And I said right at the beginning of the year this was likely to be a year of social activism, and just at the end of February we're certainly seeing an awful lot of that, and not only in America. We're seeing it in France at the moment. Today I'm filming protests of about 5,000 people in Moscow too. So it's a global phenomenon, if you like. And this is because Uranus historically has been the planet of revolution, because it demands a voice to be heard, because it demands freedom, because it demands equality, particularly when it's in Aries. Strong urge for that. Jupiter expands all of that, but because Jupiter's in Libra, Libra is also about social justice and fairness. So all of that is bubbling all of this year. Now, Jupiter and Uranus become exact in that opposition on the 3rd of the month, and whenever an aspect is exact, you're more likely to get a manifestation of the symbolism. Now, I've spoken quite a lot about anticipating that we'll get more evidence of life beyond this earth. And again, I was working with this aspect to anticipate that. And just a few days ago, NASA discovered a whole new planetary system of 7 planets, 3 of which they believe are habitable or would sustain life. So it's smack on this symbolism, if you like, and we're going to see more evidence of that as we roll towards October, when this aspect dissolves. But it's because partly Jupiter is connected with long distance travel, far away places, very far away. Uranus is the maverick, the outsider, the alien, if you like, and hence anticipating life beyond this planet. But we will be seeing more evidence of that as we go through the year, as I say. But this personally can create, it's a great aspect for bigger horizons, bigger visions, bigger future possibilities that we can see, because Uranus is very connected to the superconscious. And Jupiter is expanding that in that aspect. So we can get sudden shifts of insight or shifts of perception where we see situations where we might be slightly stuck from a totally different point of view. And it can bring in new opportunities as well for us. So it's really, really positive in that way too. Now, really all of this aspect, this T-square, has, because it's in cardinal signs, Uranus and Eris at 21 of Aries, Jupiter at 21 of Libra, Pluto at 18-19 of Capricorn, they're all in cardinal signs. And particularly with several planets in Aries, we have this yang outward energy that needs expression. We have a lot of planets in fire. We have Venus in Aries, we have Mars up to the 10th when it moves into Taurus in Aries, we have Uranus, we have Eris, so strong fire energy. We have the moon in Aries on the 1st of the month, we have Saturn in Sagittarius. So fire, particularly Aries, this sign of primal fire, it's initiatory, wants to take action, it has courage, it's pioneering. It wants to get things moving, so it's very action-oriented. But equally, just as we had in late February, we have a strong emphasis in Pisces. On the 1st of the month, when the moon in Aries is coming together to highlight that T-square, we have the Sun coming together to conjunct Neptune in Pisces at 11 of Pisces, and Neptune rules Pisces. We also have other planets. We also have Mercury, as well as the Sun, and as well as Neptune, we have Chiron and the South Node in Pisces. So, emphasis in Aries, emphasis in Pisces, and as I said right at the beginning, they are terribly, terribly different. Now, the way Pisces and Neptune always likes to express at its best is doing something creative, doing something spiritual, meditating, or doing something with compassion, dissolving your own ego and caring for others in some way with great empathy, great sensitivity. So to use this at its best, we could take spiritually inspired action at this time through the first half of March. Spiritually inspired action. It can be a great time to do this, because when you feel the polarity of those two sides, the difference between the masculinity of Aries and the power of it, and the gentle vulnerability and sensitivity and femininity of Pisces, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by other people's powerful actions. Pisces can go into vulnerability, powerlessness. So think of the positive side of it that I've expressed, which is much more of an amalgamation of spiritually inspired action. But really taking the bigger picture, this is really speaking about the need to balance the masculine and the feminine more in our society, so it's not so out of kilter. It's about really giving more courage, if you like, more bravery to the feminine side, to really give the courage to espouse those values of the divine feminine, of caring for other people, of love, of cooperation, of nurturing, whatever gender you are, and bringing more heart, if you like, or more love into the masculine side, so it doesn't become so overpowering, because this is really linked to external powerful authority figures as well. And this is part of the whole bigger shift from a patriarchal top-down society to a much more horizontally based society. So it's all part of that. On the 4th of the month, Venus moves retrograde, and Venus will be retrograde for 6 weeks, from 13 of Aries back to 27 of Pisces by the 15th of April. So see where that early part of Aries falls in your chart, because Venus is retrograde and moving back over. Venus has the generalized meaning of love. And particularly if it's in your 5th house of romance, 7th house of important relationships, you could be re-evaluating, going back over those relationships in some way. Venus also has the generalized meaning of money. Particularly if this falls in your 2nd house in your chart of finance, you could be re-evaluating your financial situation. And Venus also has this generalized meaning of currencies. So over the 6 weeks from the 4th of March, we could see some quite rapid shifts in currencies. Remember, we've got a lot of fire. We've got no planets in fixed signs until the 10th, when Mars goes into Taurus. So we could see a lot of rapid movement in currencies. That's another potential. And another date I should mention, Uranus and Eris are pretty tightly conjunct, really, for most of this year, but they become exact, absolutely exact together on the 16th. And you have the planet of awakening together with the planet of disruption. So 16th of March could be quite a lively time, and I mention that because I know that's quite an important time in America for economics and debt ceilings and that sort of thing. Then we have the Mars moving into Taurus on the 10th of the month. Now this is good because although Mars rules Aries, it can be a little reckless and impulsive when it's in Aries. So moving into Taurus, it can give a real steady productivity. It has endurance. It can stick to things. So if you have a project where you really got to work and see it through, this will be extremely helpful for you, particularly if it falls in your 6th house of work, 10th house of career, that sort of thing, 5th house of a creative project. It will really help to give you the energy to stick to it. Then on the 12th of the month, we have a full moon at 22 degrees, 13 minutes of Virgo. Now this happens at 7:53 a.m. Pacific time and 3:53 p.m. UK time. So a full moon, as always, is a culmination, a closure, a bringing to fruition. It's the peak of the lunar cycle. So it can be what you've earned, it can be the results of the efforts you've put in up to that point. So seeing where 22 of Virgo falls in your chart will give you an indication of what's coming to fruition. Equally, the full moon can shine a light on something that you may have been unaware of and reveal something that changes your course of action after that. And again, at this full moon, we have a big lineup of planets in Pisces. We still have the Sun, we still have Mercury, Neptune, Chiron, South Node, all in Pisces. And the moon is in Virgo. So with all of that sensitivity, creativity, heightened intuition, very much at this time, but emotion as well. Pisces is an incredibly sensitive emotional sign. The moon in Virgo has a mental function. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So the moon will try to rationalize or analyze or compartmentalize what we're feeling emotionally, particularly if we have any feeling of overwhelm at that time. And we may also become aware of part of us that still needs to be healed, because the moon is exactly opposite to Chiron at 24 of Pisces. And Pisces and Chiron is the move back to wholeness. So the moon can highlight where we still have some distance to go to fully heal, but that can be very helpful for us. And what helps us as well at this full moon is the moon is in very exact aspect to Uranus, that brilliant genius flash of insight that can make us see things from a very different point of view, that can really help us reframe any challenges that we're in at this time. So it's going to be a wonderful combination, the full moon, of heightened intuition, the Pisces planets, with brilliant insight, that connection to Uranus. Linked to that whole theme, we have Saturn for the next 2 months tightly on the galactic centre. Now, the galactic centre, as the name suggests, is the centre of our galaxy. It's the focal point of a huge amount of cosmic information. So when planets become aligned to it, we can receive very high level information. We can get downloads of information. And this full moon, with all of that Pisces energy, plus the Uranus insight, would be a very good time to really receive those. So really meditate around that time and benefit from it. And then finally, we have another very positive aspect to the moon from Pluto, which can help to give tremendous focus to wherever 22 of Virgo falls in your chart, whatever we're doing. So Mars in Taurus, together with this aspect from Pluto to the moon, great for productivity, focus, intensity, getting the project done. So a lot happening in this first half of March. So enjoy this full moon in Virgo.